I have spent the last 2 weeks playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, putting in about 150 hours so far, first on PS5, then again on PC. I finished the main story, spent lots of time on side quests, explored everything in the open world, and checked out every gameplay mechanic, from stealth to combat to parkour in detail. I didn't rush through any of it. I took my time with every part of the game. With all this time spent, I can now say I'm qualified to give you an honest review. I'll be covering everything: the story, the gameplay, the open world, and this review is completely spoiler free. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get started. So I finished the main story of this game after around 60 hours. I did a lot of stuff in that time. It wasn't just me rushing through the main story. I was also doing all them side quests around my level the whole time. Even after I wrapped up the story, still had like half the side stuff and map left to check out. So the game's got a crazy amount of content, and after going through all of it, I gotta say, most of it was real good. The story in this game feels much more focused, kinda like those early AC games. Overall, the story was very good, with plenty of cool hooks that kept me interested the whole way. I really like how the game takes just the right amount of time setting up its story and characters. There's a lot of chill sections where the game takes its time, shows off the world, and lets the characters grow on you. One thing I enjoyed a lot was the non-linear storytelling, where the game throws in flashbacks from time to time. I was really into that. Those flashback moments for both Naoe and Yasuke were super well done, and just high quality stuff. The game does a great job building up intrigue in its main story, and it don't rush the big revelations. Instead, it slowly reveals bits of the story through little details in cutscenes, dropping just enough info to keep me hooked. And speaking of stuff keeping me hooked, I've been using Naginatas a lot lately. They're just awesome to use. The Naginata's long reach and sweeping attacks make fighting groups of enemies so much fun. The one you see me using here is called the Blade of Focus and Courage. It's an epic tier weapon, does extra damage at night, and it's easily one of the coolest looking weapons in the whole game. If you wanna grab this one for yourself, all you gotta do is pick up a pack of FOCUSFUEL Citrus Yuzu gummies from GNC.com or GNC stores. Each pack comes with a code to unlock this exclusive weapon, plus a Small Mon Pack which gives you some extra currency. It's a limited time thing, and you will only find it at GNC. So if you wanna add this epic Naginata to your collection, check the link in the description or in the comments. Alright, back to the review. Yasuke's story was easily my favorite part of the game. His story and his character are so unique, like nothing the AC series has done before. His story is just excellent from start to finish, and it had me hooked the whole way through. I was fascinated by his character the whole way. The game does a great job keeping me invested and making me care about what's going on with him. Now his story also had hooks that kept me interested in her side of things, but for me, Yasuke was just way more interesting. Yasuke is a great main character, easily one of my favorites in any AC game, and now is good too, but Yasuke was just great. From his very first appearance, I was intrigued, especially when it came to his past. Yasuke just has this aura about him, this larger than life presence, but at the same time he's grounded and caring. Cause the game don't tell you much about his past at the start. He stays kinda mysterious. I also really liked how he's enthusiastic about Japan and its culture throughout the story. Overall, the game handled him really well, not just as a unique one-of-a-kind black samurai, but also by making him feel like he belongs as an AC protagonist. Naoe was really good too. She's focused, a total badass, and most times more intense than Yasuke, but she's also really likable and has a caring side. In the story, she's basically discovering the larger world as things goes on. That one line from Yasuke in the first CG trailer, "You are a frog in a well who knows nothing of the sea," fits her so well early on. But as the story goes forward, you really see her grow and understand things more. The ending of the main story was straight up fire. The end credit song was just so good, might even be my favorite in any AC game. I do feel like now as part of the story ended up kinda incomplete. It was good, but felt like there should have been more to wrap up our arc. If you're looking for Assassin and Templar stuff, you won't be disappointed. I wasn't expecting much there, but I was pleasantly surprised. By the end, I felt satisfied with how the game handled the Assassin and Templar elements. It even got me excited about these groups again, after the recent AC games made them feel less exciting. The game handles the Assassin and Templar story real well. It takes its time setting things up, but when it delivers, it really delivers. I especially liked how the Templars were included in the story. They weren't around the whole time, but when they showed up, they made an impact. I would have liked more of them cause their parts were done real well, but I get why the game focused more on the new enemy group given the setting. They handled that new faction pretty well too. The game also does a good job with the main targets. All of them felt different and had their own own personality, which made him memorable. Some targets were straight up evil, but most had real reasons for what they were doing. They weren't just bad for no reason, which made him more believable. I really liked the cast of historical characters in the story. My favorite side characters were Oda Nobunaga, Hattori Hanzo, and Fujibayashi Nagato. Oda Nobunaga was easily one of my favorite AC side characters ever. Whenever he showed up with Yasuke, I was all in. I found a lot of the smaller side characters interesting too. They each got some personality and are kinda memorable in their own ways. And I love that there are lots of little character interactions back at our hideout. Those interactions were pretty good too. I played with the English voices, and I thought both protagonist voice acting was pretty good. Yasuke voice in particular was great, easily my favorite in the game. Naoe's voice was good too, just not as good as Yasuke's. Some of the side characters like Oda Nobunaga, Hattori Hanzo, and few others I won't spoil had really good voice acting as well, but overall the side character voice work was pretty average. It didn't bug me too much though. What did bother me was how stiff a lot of the side characters' faces were during cutscenes. The main characters looked better. Yasuke and Naoe's facial expressions were actually good, so it's mostly the smaller characters that had the issue. But even with that gripe, most of the cutscenes in the game are just so damn good and well made. It's a huge improvement over the recent AC games in terms of presentation. The music direction and overall presentation in these cutscenes make them some of the best in the series for me. There were so many moments that made me care about what was happening, or got me smiling, angry, sad, or intrigued. Some even gave me goosebumps. Not every cutscene was amazing, but there are tons of really good ones. A lot of them run pretty long too. Some go real long, but I was never bored. I was hooked the whole time, always waiting to see more, to understand what was happening and why, and to find out what was coming next. On my first playthrough, I played with the dialogue choices on, and now I'm doing my second run in canon mode. I really like that they included a canon mode for those who just want to see how the story plays out exactly how it was written. Really glad they put this mode in. The game's soundtrack really blew me away. The way music's used in the cutscenes is just great, adding so much atmosphere and making those moments feel special and full emotion. Cutscenes in the recent AC games were kinda underwhelming, so I wasn't expecting much, but the music and scenes here really surprised me in a good way, and it ain't just cutscenes. Sometimes during gameplay the music kicks in and gives an epic feeling that's pretty different from anything else in the series. This game's got so many moments that would easily make it onto my list of favorite AC moments ever. So AC Shadows is pretty much all about assassinations. Whether you're doing main missions or side stuff, you're mostly gonna be taking out targets. There's plenty of main mission targets, and at first you don't even know who they are, so you gotta uncover their identities before you can go after them. Even the side content's mostly assassinations, so I'd say this game's got more targets than any other in the series so far. All the main missions were pretty good, and I really enjoyed uncovering who those unknown targets were. Those shadowy people quietly running things behind the scenes. I wish those memory corridor scenes were still there after I take out a main target. I miss them. There's lots of little things in the game, especially in the main missions, showing the devs really cared. Some missions let me take down targets in unique ways, and a few boss fights had special animations for both your character and the boss. Some main missions are so good, I think they're up there with the best in the series. I wanted to replay some missions right after I finished, but there's no mission replay, which sucks. The boss battles in the story weren't as tough as I hoped, but a few were good enough that I count them among the series' best. I liked how NPCs around the world gave you extra background info during missions, like they'll talk about what's going on around you to give context. Some main missions had optional side stuff that was nice to check out. I was always eager to see what happened next in the main story, but the side missions were so fun that I wanted to do every single one right when I found it. Side quests in this game are pretty simple, but they are fun and well made. Even late in the game, new content kept popping up and surprising me, and all of it was high quality. Plus, back at my hideout, there was a lot of cutscenes and talks that built the characters up nice. There were a couple things I didn't like about some main missions though. Not having the other protagonist there as an AI companion when it felt like they should be there kinda sucked. Seeing him show up out of nowhere in a cutscene just felt off. It was also a letdown that Naoe and Yasuke never fight side by side, even when they're around in the story. And a few times the character I didn't use for a mission acted like they did it, which felt weird and could have been avoided. There's also lots of castles in the game. Some small, some big, some absolutely huge. I liked how to get inside some of them quietly. I had to find my own way in by looking for special entry points. Stealth in these castles fun, cause they're designed real well. Doing stealth inside the tenchu of a castle to take out a target was super satisfying. Quick reminder, if you want the exclusive Naginata I mentioned, the Blade of Focus and Courage, it's available only at gnc.com or GNC stores. Links below. The first time I used shadows at night, it felt cool and kinda badass, and after that I kept looking forward to using them at night. The game don't throw shadows everywhere. They are placed smart. Level designs take them into account, so there's patches of darkness here and there, but not all over, making you think about your positioning. Enemy placement also nudges you to use shadows, and you can even create new dark spots yourself. I love stealth gameplay. It's one of the main reasons I got into the series with the first AC games. Recent AC games didn't have the kind of stealth I like, but in this one, it's easily my favorite part of the gameplay. Stealth here is probably top of the series. It don't have social stealth, like blending into crowds, but since most stealth is in castle and camps, I didn't miss it as much as I thought I would. I also really like the addition of servants in enemy spots, since they make those places feel more lived in instead of just empty bases. They also add challenge. Killing them feels strong, so you gotta knock them out or just avoid them. And if they spot you, they'll alert the guards and make things tougher. Once enemies got on high alert, they got way tougher to avoid. They'd spot me faster even when I was peeking out of cover, and they took less damage from stealth attacks, making them tougher to take down. Hiding by going prone in shallow water was awesome, especially how Naoe uses a stick to breathe when she needs air. At high alert, stealth in castles got real tough, cause the strongest enemies, the guardians, started patrolling. Noise detection was kinda disappointing, wasn't as good as I expected. Enemies didn't always react when they should, like I dropped a big alarm bell next to one guy and he did nothing. That was disappointing. Yasuke can stealth too, but with fewer moves, being louder and slower. It was harder with him than with Naoe. After I unlocked silent arrows for Yasuke, stealth got a lot more doable with him and even felt pretty satisfying at times. Combat as Yasuke feels totally different than with Naoe. Every time I fought as Yasuke, I felt like an absolute badass. It was real satisfying. When it comes to combat, I preferred playing as Yasuke. Just felt real good. Naoe's fights took longer, especially against big groups. But once I unlocked the skill so now I could do a one-hit hidden blade kill in combat, fighting as her got just as fun. Parkour in this game was mostly useful for stealth or escaping. There weren't any real parkour routes like those earlier games, so I barely used it. It never felt like something I'd do for fun, only when I had to. Back in the earlier AC games, I'd run rooftops and climb stuff just cause I felt like it. But here, I only did it when I was running from enemies or trying to get past an obstacle or take a shortcut. Overall, it felt lacking cause of the level design. Not many spots made me use all my parkour moves. The game does have a few parkour side activities with nice scenery and low rewards, but they are super linear and not really challenging. I also missed we can't use moves like side ejects or back ejects for scaling up walls. Parkour with Yasuke was alright, but when it needed lots of climbing with him, it felt slow and not worth it. Also, didn't like how Yasuke couldn't climb some viewpoints. There weren't many, but it was enough to annoy me. Felt unneeded. If both characters are here, they should be able to reach those viewpoints. Having to switch for that was straight up annoying. I liked the new observe feature. The game puts it to good use. And I used the new scout system a lot. Liked how it played into the gameplay. It ain't perfect, could have been better in some ways, but it's still good. Since refilling scouts either takes a season change or costs money, I had to be careful when I used them instead of just spamming. When I used a scout, it only gave me a general idea where my objective was, not the exact spot. And I liked that. Once I got to that area, the game usually guided me with NPC chatter, exploring, or my character noticing something. It made the gameplay feel more immersive. This didn't happen every time. Sometimes the scout just marked the exact location, but it happened enough and I appreciated those moments. The map's huge and it feels massive when you're exploring. The cities and areas each got their own feel, which was nice. The whole game world's packed with stuff that either helps you or adds to the immersion. There's little scenes and events all over that gives context to locations and characters, making the world feel way more alive. The NPCs are well done and add a lot to the world. Outside cities, NPCs are way better than in recent AC games. You'll see travelers on roads, random events, people chatting, and even scenes showing the effects of war. And the wildlife's done real well too. I like how the game has events in the open world that naturally guides you into new side missions. There's random little side quests that ain't marked on the map, you just stumble on them. Like this one time, I saved a peasant from some attackers and got a fruit as a reward. Felt pretty organic. Most of these small events give you a decent reward or some helpful info that shows your point of interest or even leads to a new quest. I really liked how the side assassination targets actually felt like they're part of the world. They weren't doing much, but they wouldn't just standing around waiting for me to show up either. I also love that painting style filter that shows up when you assassinate a target. It looks sick and made those kills feel even cooler. The objective board in Shadows was fantastic. I used it all the time. It was super helpful, and I think it was one of the reasons I enjoyed the quest so much. I also want to quickly mention the dialogue choices, cause I liked how they are done. They don't change the story, the ending's fixed, but every choice is short and clear, so they never slow down a scene. The choices don't branch out the story, but the game does reference your choices here and there later on. I'm not usually into dialogue choices in games, but here I like them. There are also some really well made cutscenes out in the open world that are just there to build up the main characters, and they do a great job. And I gotta say, the overall sound design in this game really impressed me. Like there was this one time when I was hiding underneath a house and I could clearly hear enemy footsteps getting louder as they moved closer, then walked right above me. But the most impressive part was when I was hiding under a small wooden bridge and a whole group of enemies crossed right overhead, one of them even riding a horse. The sound of him passing right above felt so real. It literally felt like I was right there underneath him. There's way too much gear in this game and most of it's too easy to get. I like the legendary items, but there's so many low level pieces, it just feels excessive. If the game only had legendary and maybe epic gear, that would be enough. Probably better. The game's got a codex database, which is nice, but I wish it included the story characters, especially the historical ones. I was also real disappointed with the modern day content. There's almost nothing there, and what little is there ain't that great. It felt like an afterthought, which was disappointing, cause I really enjoy the modern day stuff in Assassin's Creed. Alright, let me wrap this video up. Assassin's Creed Shadows is a very good game, and easily my favorite Assassin's Creed RPG. Yes, the game isn't perfect. There's stuff that could have been better, but I felt Shadows had real heart and care put into it. I enjoyed it so much, I'm already ready for more Shadows content. Playing through Shadows made me excited about future Assassin's Creed RPGs. I also really like the Japan setting, and I hope AC comes back here again soon. Before I end this video, just want to remind you once more about the cool Blade of Focus and Courage weapon you saw earlier. Grab in FOCUSFUEL Citrus Yuzu gummies at gnc.com or GNC stores. Gets you that awesome weapon and the Small Mon Pack to use. Links waiting for you down in the description and comments. Definitely check it out soon if you want to use this weapon yourself. Big thanks to FOCUSFUEL for the partnership, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.